All your hands should be down. Well, you got the crystal ball, you send it to me. I do actually know what's going on in the market. Here is what's happening right here. This is from the Fred. And I want to be very, very clear. This is what's happening in the market. Show of hands if you understand. You can look this up yourself. I looked this up yesterday. And it is about 16 days old. They put this information out. So the market is tipping. Now, not all markets are doing this. Realtors, show of hands if that is a little disconcerting. It's a little. Realtors, are you totally fine with this? Totally chill? Realtors, are you not going to raise your hands on the market? Is that just what happened? All right, I've been a licensed realtor since 2012. So I've been in the market for a little while. I've invested in real estate. This was 2008. This is when I bought my first house. By the way, anybody buy houses in 2008? Remember what that was like? I my whole life I was told I was a loser, but then like in 2008 I discovered what that really meant to be. I was like, oh, I am losing. Like this is bad. And then I stayed in it anyway, because my whole life had convinced myself that I was an underdog, right? So when something like happened to make me lose, I figured out like, okay, like when things are bad and things are losing, like I'm the one who digs in a little deeper and figures out how to come out of it with a solution, like better than anybody else. And so in 2008, I dug into something called real estate investing. I dug deep into this concept of I lost money in real estate. How do you make money in real estate? And from that, I came up with some solutions. And I made a lot of friends. And those friends paid me a lot of money. A lot of money. You know why I don't like transactional agents? Give me a reason. Why don't you like transactional? Who here hates transactional agents? All right, why don't we like them? They're no fun. They don't care about people. What else?
Money.
What is it?
Just about the money.
Just about the money. They're rude. All right, what else? There's no relationship. I hate transactional agents. Hate them. Show of hands if you've been a transactional agent. Forgot to follow up with people. We've all done it. We've all done it. It's embarrassing, but we've all done it. Cool. Just want to point that out. All right. Where are we going? Well, if what goes up comes down, 2008 was a sign of what is inevitable next. We're kind of hitting that. I'm going to give you something you've probably seen before. It's called the market cycle. Who's seen this before? Show of hands. We understand how this thing works. If you're new to the market cycle, well, optimism is where we start. Then we get to excitement. Then we get to euphoria. And then we come down. Like life is waves, comes up and it goes down. And then we come down to denial, fear, panic, depression, hope, and then back to optimism. If you were to vote right now, where do you think we are in the market? You just shout it out. Denial. I hear denial, I hear fear, but keep shouting it. Everybody gets a vote. It's like America. Depression, keep going. Okay, so you're all right on some level. Internally, we all have these emotions at all times. Who's feeling that? When you think about the market, it's all coming up and down, right? It's like that right before you do a YouTube video. This is why I love this. The market is so similar. Investing, buying real estate is so similar to doing that next video. And it's just so beautiful to share with you where I think we are. The truth, based on the slide we were just at, is here. Right? We're nowhere near any of the other spots. We're in euphoria still. There are still people who are paying over asking for houses. True or true? There are still people who are like, oh, I'm afraid the market's dropping. I'm not going to buy right now. True. Right. That's euphoria. That's like, oh, it's pretty good. It might get bad, but it's maybe. I don't know where I'm at. It's still kind of this like really cool place. Don't worry. As realtors, I've got something for you. Remember this movie, The Gold Rush? Anybody ever watch this show? It's a TV show. It's like 1,000 seasons of like you just sitting there watching people work. It's the greatest show I used to watch every episode, so that's why it's up here. So we're in a modern day gold rush. We're in a modern day gold rush where people who have won, I'm one of them. In fact, this Friday, I think I'm cashing a check for $780,000. Is that accurate? If the deal closes, we'll see. You know how closing dates are, right? It was supposed to close yesterday, so we'll see if it closes on Friday, and then it got pushed to today, and then we'll see. But I'm selling buildings that I bought 2 years ago that I haven't been in. Obviously, I live in Florida. All my stuff's in Massachusetts. I've been down here for 2 full years. So I haven't been in these buildings in years, and they've been cash flowing the entire time. It's 2-3 families and 5 units, so it's 11 units. What's cool about it is I bought those buildings for $600,000 2 years ago from a motivated seller. Show of hands if you know what those are. Yeah. Dude was like, I gotta get rid of it. And I was like, okay, cool, I wanna buy it. I said 750. He said 750. I said 7. Then he didn't close with me. Dude went and put it on MLS. Cool, no problem, no worries. 6 months later, he calls me back, says that offer still exists. I said, no, the offer's now 600,000, and I know it's terrible. I'm the worst. That's what I did. So I said, no, it's 600,000. He sells it to me for 600,000. 3 buildings, 11 units that I'm now selling. I sold 2 of those buildings for 750,000. The whole thing. I mean, 2 of the buildings. I mean, 750,000 for 2 buildings. And then the other building, the 5 unit, I'm selling for $500,000. So when you think about it, I made $650,000 just from doing one thing. I'm going to show you what that is as we're going through. But I tell you the story of the gold rush. Because remember that book, 3 Feet from Gold? Many of you are actually right there right now in your career. In fact, that throughout this week, we kind of went through this little journey. Who's familiar with the hero's journey? All right, you've seen it if you've ever watched The Matrix or any movie ever on TV, ever, right? The Lord of the Rings is one of my favorites to kind of go through. Like, the hero's journey starts at your house, your comfortable space that you've been before. And then you move into a new space, a magical space, maybe with lights and stages and charismatic characters and all those really cool people. And you end up in this new space. And then while you're out here in this adventure, you get what's called a call to action, right? You get the call to reach to the next level, to go and do something that heroes do, right? To be a hero in your world. Now, obviously, the hero never sees themselves as a hero, right? And the first thing they do as soon as the call to action comes up is they deny the call to action. No, I couldn't possibly be that one, no. But then something happens in the next scene or the scene after where the switch flicks and suddenly you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice but to go and jump in and take your life seriously in this very moment and be the hero that you never were. To go and be the person who jumps into, we'll say, a system and starts producing the results of that system consistently, repetitively, and waits the weeks, the months and then later on what happens in a movie, right? Once you make the decision to go forward, what happens? You meet the mentors, right? The guides show up. The people in your life, the supportive characters, they show up. And then you end up with a posse, right? A party. Everybody ends up with a party of heroes and characters that are kind of move along with them, right? Remember Lion King? Like he had the pig and then the little guy, right? And like, then he got his posse and it was like badass, right? Right? Like we all kind of, like we're in that room right now. Show of hands if you're catching this. All right, and this is how I met the Russian princess, how I met Darina. I was in a room just like this. And the guy just happened to be like, hey, anybody who's single, stand up. And I stood up, and she stood up, and she looked back at me, and I looked at her. It's been 7 years, so let's give Darina a round of applause. She's amazing. Rooms like this will change your life. She's been at my side taking over the world for the last 7 years. Well, 3 years off, because I was a player for 3 years. I take that part. Yeah. Who knows we make mistakes? Who here has not made mistakes? I mean, if you haven't, then, right, we've all made mistakes. At least I was able to build back and build something from the mistakes I made and acknowledge it and never made that mistake again. Not recording that next video, not jumping into finding your posse, your team, your mentor, and not going all the way, you'll wake up one day and realize that was a mistake. If I'd been with her 3 years earlier, I'd be a billionaire by now, guaranteed. Right? I'm only a pentamillionaire. That means 5 millions. But I think she has a lot to do with it. Show of hands if you agree. Right? I wouldn't be on this stage if it wasn't for her. She's the one who's always like, yeah, you got to speak. She'd be like, did you get your PowerPoint sent into Austin yet? I'm on it. I'm going to do it right now. Right? Did you do that interview with Karen? Karen wants to talk to you. Did you just sit down and talk to Karen? I'm going to talk to Karen. I want to make sure that gets done. Right? The people you have in your life, it takes 3 things to become a millionaire. It takes knowledge, network, and accountability. You can't get around it. Impossible. Knowledge, network, accountability. By the way, as you're talking to your clients, you need to say this to them. It's really important. Knowledge, network, and accountability. You are both their knowledge, you are their source of network, and you are their accountability partner. True or true? True. Right? Now, when you work with investors, I'm going to talk about investors a lot because investors are where all the money is coming up. Because it's a gold rush. What happens during a gold rush? Anybody remember? That's right. Everybody's a professional. Everybody's a miner. Everybody's like, let me jump in. So we're kind of at that point where the euphoria is starting to end. All the people who are buying and thinking they were good investors, they're buying houses in Florida. They're buying houses in Florida, like vacation home rentals. They're starting to realize it's not working the way they thought it would on HGTV. Right? They're starting to see it's not quite like that. The interest rates are changing and shifting, and they're starting to weaken the market. And there's a story, there's a book that was put out, it's called 3 Feet from Gold. Anybody who's been in the coaching space, personal development space is familiar with this story. And what happened was these miners went out, they bought all the equipment, they bought the land, they started mining, and then they couldn't find gold. And so what did they do? They gave up, right? It's like you post a couple videos, they're kind of half-assed videos, you didn't check in with your mentor, you didn't sign up for the mindset stuff, and then a couple weeks later you're just like, videos don't work. I proved it. I got proof. Look at my channel. 2 subscribers. Nobody bought real estate with me this week. Maybe the video thing doesn't work. Right, we can prove it to ourselves. So the miners, they left. What did they do with all the equipment? What did they do with the land? They sold it back to the person who sold to them in the first place, right? At a discount, a steep discount. And now that person went and they called up the professional, the expert. The expert went out, surveyed the land, took a look at what was wrong. It's kind of like a metaphor for videos, isn't it? They took a look at what was wrong, what was going on, and they said, you know what? These guys were 3 feet away. If they'd had only dug right here, they would have made their money. And so now the new owner of the mine, who bought the mine, by the way, at a discount, and who bought all the equipment from the old miners at a discount, now that person says, well, I've paid a professional. Let me go and take a look at this. He digs, he finds gold, rich.